Wanna swing in soon? Wanna swing in soon? Hey guys, and welcome back to my little corner of YouTube. Today, I have kind of a creepy story time about a time that I was stalked by my therapist. Now, it wasn't anything super crazy, like no one was physically following me, I wasn't in physical danger, but I had a very uncomfortable, very unprofessional experience where the person I chose to see for therapy would not leave me alone. So, this is that story. Let's dive right in. Actually, before we get started, give this video a thumbs up. Make sure you are subscribed and hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss any of my story times, ADHD content, productivity hacks, etc. I have a lot coming. So, now let's jump in. So I am someone, obviously, look at the title of my YouTube channel, The ADHD Diaries. I'm very open about my mental health and the struggles I've had with that. I was clinically diagnosed with ADHD and anxiety around age 7, and I've done a couple different things to manage that over the years. And in the last couple of years, something that I have really wanted to get more involved with was therapy. So I had been seeing a counselor for a couple of years when I was in college, and I just stopped because I felt like I kind of maxed out that relationship. And then after being married for a couple of years, we had finally been in the area. Steven and I tend to kind of travel around a bit. We had been in the Metro Detroit area for several months. I was like, you know what? I think I would really like to start seeing a counselor regularly, a therapist regularly. So I did some research. I had a couple different criteria that were important to me. Really the biggest one is I really wanted a Christian therapist because my faith is incredibly important to me. Hey, stop, please. You guys are so cute. Okay. So my faith is very important to me, and I really wanted a therapist who could genuinely connect with me on that same level. So I did some research, and I found a Christian therapist who was a little bit far away, but I was like, you know what? They have good reviews. I'm gonna go to them. Perfect. So I set up an initial appointment, and I went to go see this guy. We're gonna call him Nathan. So we'll call him Nate. I go to see Nathan, and our first meeting was just a little bit awkward. Leo, please don't step on my computer. It was just a little bit awkward. Like it was it was very much your stereotypical, like, how does this make you feel? Tell me more about that. Like almost like what you would picture a therapy appointment on being on like a sitcom or in like a funny TV show or something like that. It just was kind of uncomfortable. It wasn't like a flowing natural conversation, which was what I had had with my previous counselor. And it was just a little bit awkward. But I was like, you know what? I'll stick with it and we'll see where this goes because I really wanted to be in therapy. After my first appointment, I just kind of was having second thoughts. The office was like 25 minutes away from my house. It had just been really awkward. I didn't feel a good connection with this guy. It didn't seem like it was gonna be a fit. So I called and I canceled my next appointment, and I told the receptionist, hey, I just don't think it's gonna be a fit. There's actually a place right by my house that I found that I think is just gonna be a better fit. So please tell Nate, thanks so much, but I'm going to see someone else, which gets the picture across, right? You would think. So a couple of days go by, not even a couple of days. I think it was the next day. I was having coffee with my really, really good friend, and I get a phone call and I don't recognize the number. So I pick up and it's Nate. And he's like, hey, I heard that you canceled your appointment, so I want to know what happened. And like, this guy sounds like I broke up with him, not like he was my therapist and it wasn't a good fit. He literally is saying to me like, I just don't understand what happened. Can you please help me understand? And I literally tried to like nicely do the whole it's not you, it's me thing, where I was like, well, it just is a really far drive for me, and I found a place that's a lot closer. So, and I tried to like harp on that. I didn't want to be like, and also you seem kind of strange and I didn't get a good vibe from you. We didn't connect. I wasn't gonna do that. A large part of the reason was there is a place literally 3 minutes away from my house that had a counselor that I actually had worked with a little bit before, and I was like, oh, this guy's really close and he fits my criteria, and let's just do that. And this guy is just like, well, okay, I mean, I guess, and he seriously sounds like he's so sad. Like, he sounds sad, not like, hey, just checking in to see, like, was there anything I could do differently? Okay, thanks so much. No, it was, this guy was like genuinely sad. And I was like, okay, this is, okay, Blue, buddy, I need you to move. Move, thank you. You're so cute, I love you. Okay, this is fine. Yeah, it just, and I'm looking at my friend and I'm like, what is happening? And she's like, this is not appropriate. Okay. Yeah, you're adorable. I love you so much, it's insane. Oh, big yawn. Big yawn for the big old dog. Okay, I'm like sitting across from my friend and I'm like, oh my goodness. And I specifically had reached out to the receptionist and had left details with the receptionist so that something like this wouldn't happen. A little bit about me, I hate confrontation. I can't stand confrontation and I'm working on this. I have a really hard time giving constructive feedback. So, ouch, Blue, buddy, you whacked me with your tail. So I really didn't want to have this conversation with this guy, but he calls me and it isn't like, he won't let it go. I told him, yeah, it's just a little bit too far. And he's like, well, I mean, we could try to make it work. I could like try to rearrange my schedule. Like, he's trying to force it. And I'm like, thanks so much. I really appreciate it. And I actually have to go. I use that when I want to get off the phone because it's like, I was there with my friend. I didn't know who was calling me, so I didn't know if it was like an emergency or like what the deal was. So I'll often be like, okay, I have to go. I don't give a reason. I'm not like, well, hey, I'm running into an appointment. But just sometimes, like, for your own mental health, you do need to go. So I just was like, okay, you know what? I actually have to go. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much for your time. And he's like, oh, okay, all right, bye. And I get off the phone and I look at my friend and I'm like, what the heck was that? And I explained to her everything that that Nate had said to me. And she was like, oh, okay, yeah, no, that's super inappropriate. Like, that is not okay. He should not be calling you. Like, are you kidding me? So I was like, okay, you know what? I didn't want to have the conversation, but I did. So that's the end of it, right? Yeah, that was very much not the end of it. So like a week goes by. I think about a week goes by. And I get a text from a number I don't recognize. And I have the text pulled up on my computer. So I will pull them up now and I'll also put them on the screen. So let me scoot over so I can like have some room to put them on the screen. From a random number that I don't recognize. Hey, this is Nate. Want to swing in soon? I am fine either way. Just wanted to check since we had a brief last talk. Smiley face. And I said, hi, Nate who? Sorry, I don't recognize this number. And this guy says, this is my personal cell from blank office. This is my personal cell. So I said, oh, hey, I appreciate the follow-up, but I'm all set. Thanks. And he says, all right, take care. And I said, you too. This man, this professional licensed therapist reached out to me not once, but twice. Once on his personal device. And that's incredibly problematic for a very huge reason. And that reason, okay, two reasons. One is freaking boundaries, bud. Boundaries, freaking boundaries. As a therapist, you should be aware of boundaries. We spoke about my anxiety. We spoke about my specific issues with like relating to people and like giving information to people and not wanting to let people down. So boundaries. That is number one. Number two, which is just as big, freaking HIPAA, my dude. Freaking HIPAA. If you are not familiar with HIPAA, it's the Health Information Portability and Accessibility Act, I think. I always want to say Health Information Privacy Protection Act, which makes way more sense to me, but it's portability and accessibility or something like that. But essentially, it is a law that puts all of these very, very, very strict guidelines around protecting patient confidentiality, protecting patient information, etc. In my past life, when I was on track to be a dietitian, that was something that was huge. Like, when you're working in hospitals, when you're charting for patients, when you're writing notes, you have to be so incredibly careful that there is absolutely no identifiable information about your patients. Even if I worked at a camp for kids with diabetes, even the kid, like the fact that the kid had type 1 diabetes, you had to protect that fact. That's, you know, in most cases, that's not like gonna be life-changing, or like damaging to their reputation. For example, if someone had like a sexually transmitted disease, that's not gonna damage their reputation. It does not matter. Blue, Blue, I need you to move. Blue, move. Thank you, you're such a good boy. It's not just for like the big stuff you probably really wouldn't want people to know. It's for even if you have a cold, if you have a sneeze, any health information is protected. Mental health information falls under that. And I am a huge stickler for HIPAA. I used to work at a medical clinic, and the doctor would literally mock me for how seriously I took HIPAA. He literally, like to another doctor, introducing me for the first time as a receptionist to this doctor, was like, this is Rachel. She takes HIPAA really seriously, and rolled his eyes. Like, I do not joke around with HIPAA. So let me explain to you why this is a huge HIPAA violation. I signed a piece of paper. So whenever you go to a doctor in the US, you're gonna sign a piece of paper, some sort of a HIPAA release, basically saying, hey, here's how we're gonna use your information. Here's where it might be, you know, at risk, this and that. Just basically giving you an idea of how your information is being protected. You can sign a release where doctors can do things like send you a text with health information, leave you a voicemail message with your health information, speak to a family member about your health information. You have to specifically give permission for those kinds of things. I did not give my permission for this guy to text me or call and leave a message with detailed information. Even something as simple as him saying, hey, this is from, oh shoot, I said his real name. Hey, this is Nate from the counseling office. I'm all set to see you for our appointment on Monday. Even something as seemingly harmless as that discloses my personal health information, because it's letting, if someone were to hear that voicemail, they would know I'm seeing a therapist. So it's a huge violation to reach out to me in a capacity that says, hey, we are in this provider-patient relationship, and I'm acknowledging the fact that you are seeing me for health stuff. So it's a huge violation for this guy to reach out to me, but from his personal cell phone. And the fact that he delineated, this is my personal cell, I don't know this for sure, but that makes it seem like he has a way to contact people through his office, and he has a personal cell phone. The delineation of this is my personal cell freaks me the heck out. That's creepy, that's gross, that is weird. I'm not okay with that. So technically, I could have reported this guy and had some serious stuff happen to him. I didn't want to do that because I felt, Blue, okay, buddy. I felt like it was pretty obvious he was dealing with his own personal issues, and I didn't want to deal with it. Okay, buddy. It was very apparent to me that this guy had his own personal issues that he was dealing with, and I just didn't want to deal with it anymore. I maybe should have reported him, because who knows if this would happen to someone in the future. So I actually, now that I'm rehashing all of this, I kind of think maybe I should. But at the same time, it just was one of those things where it's like, hopefully this isn't a regular thing for you, but it was so inappropriate. I even sent screenshots to my friend who I had been at coffee with when he called me, and she was like, this is not okay. And I think I blocked his number. I just finally was like, I don't want to have to deal with this. I shouldn't have to block my therapist. I should not have, he never should have reached out the first time. Just reaching out was a little much, especially since I think the receptionist even asked me like, hey, do you have questions for Nate? Do you want Nate to follow up with you? And I said, no, thank you, I'm good. I'm pretty sure that's what happened now that I'm thinking about it. He never should have made that first call. That first call, even if, okay, he made it, never. He was so incredibly unprofessional, made me so uncomfortable. It was like a middle school boyfriend being like, but like, what did I do? I just don't understand. Why'd you break up with me? It made me so uncomfortable. And then that text, wanna swing in soon? Wanna swing in soon? I'm like, is this, I have a very similar phone number to a guy named Matt, who I constantly get calls and texts like, hey man, I'm at the bar, where are you? I didn't know if this was like meant for Matt. I didn't know what the heck the deal was, but it made me so incredibly uncomfortable. So I have since found a therapist who I absolutely love. She is amazing and wonderful, and I can't say enough things about her. I have already changed so much as a person in the few months I've been seeing her. I've just become a lot healthier. I've developed some really healthy habits. I love her. I love her. I love her. I love her. So all that to say, if you have a crappy experience with a therapist or a mental health professional, don't stop there. Please keep looking, because there is someone out there who will get you, who will connect with you, who will help you make progress. So just because there are some really creepy weirdos out there doing weird, creepy things, don't let it get you down. So that is the story of the time that I was stalked and relentlessly pursued by my therapist, who couldn't believe I broke up with him. If you enjoyed the story, please give it a thumbs up. I would love to hear your creepy stories down below, whether it be a health professional who got unprofessional with you, whether it was a friend that would not leave you alone. I would love to hear anything like that. Or even if you were on the other side of something where you came off a certain way and you didn't mean it that way, because there's always two sides to every story. But it seemed like this guy had some personal issues that he should have been dealing with his own therapist. So, all right, make sure you give it a like, comment down below, and subscribe so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.